not going to do some acting or things like that here today. It was, I guess, 15 years ago since I was on a stage in a different role. Nowadays I'm mostly here as myself. It's great to be here. Such a beautiful town, a beautiful welcome, and a beautiful atmosphere here. I'm going to talk about how to get your app, or chatbot, or service company, or whatever it might be, off the ground. How to get those first crucial users. Those users that was mentioned that are probably the hardest one to get. Because you might be relying on a viral growth down the line, or referral marketing, but in order to get there, you have to get that critical mass to get started. So I'm going to give you a few good advice maybe along the way on how to do that. And it will be a bit theoretically. I hope that's fine. So how many in here are founders? Quite a few. And how many have been like pitching the product or pitching the idea to investors? Yeah, quite a few people have been in those kind of meetings, or you probably have been pitching your idea at maybe demo presentations or in similar situations. And quite often you get this, quite often you get this question, okay, that's a very interesting product, but what's your go-to-market strategy? And they're like, oh, wait, get some users, I guess, advertising, PR? And this is a very common question that people ask, because it's not only about what channels to use, like, oh, we're going to have a Twitter account or a Facebook page, and then we're going to do some mobile app installs. More often it's about that strategy that the investors are asking for. Okay, are you going to employ a sales force? Or are you going to do all, advertising, marketing, word of mouth? What is the underlying strategy? And I think what I've been seeing when I work with companies is that oftentimes you confuse strategy for tactics. So while tactics is all about choosing that channel or choosing that communication message, the strategy is more the overall picture, the goal, the long-term thinking. And most of the time, strategy is to choose what not to do, because there are so many great ideas and there is so much you can do. The opportunities are endless. And what's really hard is to say, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about strategy today, and we leave the tactics for some other time, because I think that tactics is one of those things that today is so easy to measure. You can test 10 or 20 or even 100 different channels, and then the data will tell you which one of those actually work best. Where do you get the lowest customer acquisition cost, or where do you get the best high quality customers? That's in the tactics, and that's something you can test. The strategy is harder to test, and is something that you need to do your homework on. So let's start with positioning. So positioning is basically where to position your brand or your product in the market. And it's crucial to have this nailed down, not only because it's basically your elevator pitch, it's what you're going to tell people all the time, but it also helps you coordinate and get your team to work in the same direction. Everyone knows what it is about and what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to do. So positioning is basically to get that image of your company or of your product in a very specific place in the mind of the customer. When are they going to think about your brand? In what situation is your brand going to come up as a valid option? So you basically answer 3 questions. Who is it for? What is it? And what does it offer? What are the benefits? And let's talk about who it is for to start with. So a lot of companies, and some of them that I've been working with and for, you get this question, okay, so what's your target audience? Oh, it's everyone with a smartphone, or it's everyone in this specific market. We don't want to exclude anyone, Everyone can use our product. And it's fine, and it's probably true. However, if you're sitting with your team and you tell them that everyone is in your target audience, you're going to create a lot of confusion. Because for those of you who work in creative areas, like in creative roles, you know that the more constraints you have, the more creative you get. So when you think about the target audience, never say everyone, and don't even go to say like, oh, it's women between 20 and 25 who lives in big cities. That's all very hard to understand and hard to get. Okay, I know that women between 20 and 25 are going to use my product, but does that help me in my design decisions? Does it help me when I'm writing copywriting for the App Store text? Or does it help me when I'm designing those emails that are going to go out? No, probably not, because it's so diffuse. Whoa. Let's see. All right, this is the issue of being a woman in tech. You never know what to wear. Anyway, I'll hold this in my hand for now. So instead of picking everyone, or instead of picking a demographic, or even a behavioral segment, try to pick one person. And this could be a fictive person, like maybe someone in a movie, or it could be someone that you all know, or it could be someone that you know that you then introduce for the rest of your team. So when I was at Grab, we picked Katie. Katie was just a person we picked, and we all managed to get to know her. She didn't really exist, but we talked about her. She was kind of part of our meetings, and everyone slowly got to know Katie. So when we were in a meeting with the developers, with the designers, people in support even, we could all talk about Katie. Would Katie like this? Would Katie get this? Would Katie click on this? Would she spread this to her friends? And we could slowly start talking about who are Katie's friends, and things like that. And when everyone in the team knew that we were creating an app for Katie, that Katie would love, that Katie would spread to others, everything became so much easier. Because everyone had this guideline of how to design and how to write copy. So if you can think of a person close to you or that everyone knows and have that as your target audience, I think you are gonna spare a lot of times in those meetings. And I guess this is where my theater background comes back, because every time when I was on stage and I acted, I never just pretended to be a woman 20 to 25 living in New York. I was always one specific person. It could be a teacher that I had, it could be, sometimes I acted like my friend's boyfriend, which was interesting. It could be all kind of people, but I always had one person in mind, and that made it so much easier because I know how they would walk, I know how they would talk and act and things like that. So pick your Katie for the target audience. Now, coming back to the category, sorry, and the positioning. There we go. How many of you have been into a grocery store? Okay. I actually haven't in a while because I realized that I order most of my groceries online, which is great. But in those grocery stores, you have different shelves. And you know, if you're gonna go for yogurt, you know you're gonna go to that milky direction, right? You're gonna have milk, cream, yogurt in the same area. And if you need washing powder, you know you're gonna go to that dishwasher, laundry area, right? So you kind of know where in the grocery store to look for that particular product. And in the same way, when you have your new app, or you have your product, you need to try to figure out what shelf do I belong to. Am I on the eggs or by the vegetables? And in the App Store, that becomes pretty concrete, because you actually place your app in the health and lifestyle app or in the social networks app, but it could be more narrow than that. So by choosing your category, you help your customer, you guide them through that crazy grocery store, and you help them find your product, which is essential when you have a new product maybe that someone has never done before, because they know, okay, this is kind of yogurt, but it's a little bit better, I'm gonna try it out. Or if it's just something brand new and they don't know where to place it in their head, it's gonna be very hard for them to remember you and even dare to try you out. A company I've been working with is Clue. So it's an app where you basically log when you have your period, and you log when you have sex, if you want to. You log when you have cramps and your mood, your feelings, and then over time you kind of slowly start seeing your patterns that you feel in, a particular way, particular days of the month that you maybe didn't realize before. And it can also help you if you want to get pregnant, because you know when you're ovulating, and it can help you understand your body much better. So this is a pretty you would say a lifestyle health app. And the category we placed, this one is period tracker. Very clear, it's a period tracker for everyone who wants to track their period. There are similar apps who does basically the same thing technically, but they've chosen to say, I'm a fertility app. Like, I'm an app you should use when you try to get pregnant. In Clue's case, they wanted to be an app for every woman who has a period. So by choosing category, you kind of help people and you say what you are. And period tracker, by the way, is a very old category. Before there was pen and paper, people tracked their periods. So this was a very established category. When I was at RAP, we took the decision to create a new category. So we said, well, this is social gifting, it was a category we said, we wanted to build. So our strategy when we launched was, we're going to create the category of social gifting, and we're going to be sure to be the #1. Creating a new category is way more expensive because you need to invest a lot in PR and communications, and you need to make other people start talking about your category. But we did end up raising a lot of money and spend on PR, so eventually we kind of saw these kind of headlines coming up that social gifting is the new buzzword. So you have two choices, either pick an established category or go with a brand new one. And I often recommend startups to go with an established one because it's way cheaper and it's way easier than to try to build a new one. Now the next step in positioning is to think about your competitors. And you might say, I hear this quite often, that no, we don't really have any competitors. We're doing something brand new. And it's all fine, but you probably do have competitors. So think about this brand, Coca-Cola. Who would you say is their competitor? Pepsi, okay. Yes, that's right. Do they have any other competitors? Water? Water. Why is water a competitor to Coca-Cola? If you're thirsty? Yes. Okay, so if you think about different situations where Coca-Cola can be consumed, you start realizing that there are tons of competitors. So let's say I'm in the audience of a quite boring presentation, then I might need some kind of caffeine with sugar. Coca-Cola is one option, coffee is another. If I'm on a bar and my friends are drinking beer, I'm not that into alcohol at the moment, then Coca-Cola is an option to beer. Or if I'm really hot, a summer day, I'm on the beach, I might go for either an ice cream or a Coca-Cola. I think you all get it. Depending on the situation, there are different competitors. And if you start thinking about the different situations where your customers are using your app or product, you're also slowly starting to realizing that there are a ton of competitors out there. And there are a ton of competitors that you can differentiate your brand against. And it's really helpful to do so. Now let's talk about theory, because I like theory. Has anyone heard about POD and POP? Points of parity and points of difference. All right, it's a marketing theory by Keller, and you can look it up. I like it because I think it's really suitable for startups or companies who launch a new type of product. Because oftentimes when you talk about differentiation, you talk about how you are better than the existing alternatives. And that's all good. But with this theory, you also include how you are as good as other people in that category. So points of parity is how you are on parity, how you are as good as everyone else, and points of difference is how you differ. So take an example. If I'm creating a new app for, let's say an app, a new idea. Do we have a new startup idea? Okay, let's say I'm another, image sharing app, like Instagram. Then you might think about, okay, points of parity. How am I as good as Instagram or Snapchat or other apps in that field? And then you think about points of parity. How are you actually different and better? And why is this good for startups? Well, it's because you have to build trust very early on. So if you are creating a banking app, you need to make sure that the customers feel secure. Okay, it's safe, and I won't lose my money. This is all the point of parity. I'm as secure as your traditional bank, but I'm on the mobile only, and it's super easy to use. So you don't get all of that hassle of logging in with 15 different devices to see how much money you have in the bank. And this is a really good exercise that I think most startups should go through when they think about their go-to-market strategy. So what you do, you basically create you say your category. You can name 2 different competitors, maybe the direct one, and if you have one that's a little bit more far-fetched. And then you simply write down 3 points of parity and 3 points of difference. And with this, you basically have your positioning statement. If you just add who you are for. So create the category, think about the competitors, and not only the direct ones, and then you think about how you are as good as the established ones and the existing ones, and then of course how you're different and better. And this is all the strategy. This is what I think all startups should do in their homework before they create their go-to-market strategy, because this makes it clear. And it makes it clear for the investors, for the customers, but most importantly, it makes it very clear for the entire team, so everyone knows where you're heading and what you're trying to achieve. And I'm going to finish off there. I'm going to take the opportunity. I have a free course online because I just became a mother, so I have some time left. So it's an email course. So if you subscribe to it, you get an email for I think 20 days. Where I talk about these things and more. So it's all free, so you can sign up if you want to. And with that, I just want to say thank you and best of luck.
Thank you so much, Enckell. That was really great. So I really appreciated that. So what I was wondering, because I mean I really like the project that you're doing, like traveling all across the world.
Yeah.
So what's the coolest startup thing that you've seen, like especially like in terms of like marketing, like in creativity? What's the coolest thing that you've seen on your trip? And where was that?
Yeah. So far we've been to Indonesia, Jakarta, and Singapore. The coolest thing I've seen, I think one investor said in Southeast Asia said there are 3 types of startups here. There are clones, there are mutants, and there are new species. And I think that puts it really good, because I think that's the case all over the world. And one of those mutants that I really like is a company called Gojek in Indonesia. So it's basically Uber for motorbikes, hence a mutant. So they have 10,000, 20,000 motorbikes all over Jakarta, all over Indonesia now, that you can just get with the press of your mobile phone. And what they've done, that I think they've done much better than Uber, is that they've now created an ecosystem of services that are all based on transportation. So if you take out your phone, you can order a manicure, you can order someone to clean your house, you can order a massage, you can order groceries, you can deliver mail, physical mail to someone. So they recognize that transportation is the key problem, and then they've just built tons of different services on that. And I thought that was really cool.
That is very cool. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, you should go check. It's great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.